mention because I forgot to talk to the Surgeon Dams. Thank you.
It's okay. We're doing good. Okay. Hi, everyone, and welcome to our meeting. Today's theme is talent versus strength. And I want to tell you about why I chose this theme. 3 weeks ago, I took a training at work where I was told the definition for both of them. And I want to share that with you because I think it's going to open your perspective like it did to me. Before getting into the definition, though, how many of you have felt that at work, sometimes in a meeting, you have a lot to say, or you have just the answer that is needed, but you don't know how to bring it up? Or you're talking to your boss and your boss doesn't like to be interrupted and you don't know when to jump in and say it. And what if you say something that is actually really good, but it didn't sound good, and maybe someone else took the idea and you got forgotten? Well, the definitions for talent and strength may shed some light as to why I think coming to Toastmasters meetings and taking up the roles will help you with those situations I brought at the beginning. So at work, I got into this training and they said that talent is very much associated with natural, what comes natural to you, what happens naturally, spontaneous. So if you think you're really good at something, hey, maybe you're talented on that. But then what about strength? Strength, they defined and associated it with consistency and perfection. So you can have talent for a lot of stuff, and well, it can happen at any moment. But then when you least expect it, it just goes to the floor. It doesn't work anymore. You don't look good. It doesn't come out. So how can you turn a talent into a strength? At least that was what I thought. And how does these meetings come into play? Because when you try to express yourself at work, it's not about let me do this well. What you want to do is do it consistently. You want to look good consistently. You want to express yourself effectively and clearly and concisely, consistently. And I think that's what it means when they say strength is achieving perfection, because you do things no matter how many times, and your result is consistent. So having talent is amazing. It's great, but it doesn't take you as far. It kind of makes you rely a little bit on luck. So today I would like to encourage you to be more active in our meetings, take up the roles and put yourself in it. It's not about just doing what the role requires. It's about flowing in the role and doing better, achieving consistency, and hopefully one day achieving perfection. Now let's go into the meeting. Let's introduce the facilitator team. Let's start with our grammarian. Han, would you like to let us know about the role?
Yes, hello, I'm your grammarian today, and my job is to look out for any nice phrases or nice words and that anybody is using, and also any incorrect uses of words as well. And also to give you the word of the day. So the word of the day today is equanimity, which means mental or emotional stability, especially when under stress. Thank you very much. Back to you, Denise.
Thank you, Han. I will do my best to sustain my equanimity today. Great explanation. Thank you. Let's go with the odd counter. Kanan, please tell us about the role.
Thank you. As an accounter, I will document the unnecessary ahs, ums, and filler words. This report will help us to be aware of the filler words that we are using inadvertently. This report will also guide us to make sure that we use the passes instead of ahs and ums. I will share this report when the general evaluator asks me to share that. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Kanan. Now let's go with the timer role. Tracy, please elaborate on the timer role.
Greetings, Madam Toastmaster and my fellow Toastmasters and guests. As timer, I will time the table topics speakers, formal speeches, and the evaluations. I will also alert each speaker of the time they have left, using the green, yellow, and red background, which will denote the specific times remaining. Table topic speakers should limit their remarks to no more than 2 minutes. At 1 minute, my background will turn green. At 1 minute and 30 seconds, my background will turn yellow. At 2 minutes, my background will turn red. Those giving speeches should limit their remarks to their specific speech times. Most speeches would be between 5 to 7 minutes in length. At 5 minutes, my background will turn green. At 6 minutes, my background will turn yellow. At 7 minutes, my background will turn red. The individual evaluations should be between 2 to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, my background will turn green. At 2 minutes and 30 seconds, my background will turn yellow. At 3 minutes, my background will turn red. I understand there are web challenges today, and the times allotted to those are between 2 to 3 minutes as well. So the same rule applies as the evaluations. At 2 minutes, my background will turn green. At 2 minutes and 30 seconds, it will turn yellow. And at 3 minutes, it will turn red. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Back to you.
Thank you, Tracy. That was very thorough. Next, we have our audio, video, and body language monitor, which will be executed by Ahmed. Ahmed, please explain the role.
Greetings, everyone. So my job today is to monitor the audio and video quality of each speaker, as well as watching closely the body language and the hand movement. Thank you, and back to you.
Thank you, Ahmed. I think that's everyone in the facilitator team. Thank you all for taking up the role. Next, we will go to the prepared speeches section of the meeting. And our first speaker is Kanan, who will be evaluated by Rahul. Rahul, are you ready? Yeah, please take it over.
Thanks, Toastmaster of the Day. It's my pleasure to invite Kanan for this speech. His path is effective coaching level 4, building skills. The project is public relations strategies. And the title of the speech is Evolution of PR Strategies. The purpose of this speech is for the member to practice the skills needed to effectively use public relations strategies for any group or situation. Also, the purpose is to share some aspect of his public relation strategy. Let's welcome Kanan to deliver his speech. Good luck, Kanan.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Evaluator, for introducing me, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. Before I share my screen, I want to talk about the proud accomplishment that our club has done now. We are going to participate in our Bitcom conference. Why I am saying that? I am proud that our leadership team has taken some time and they are going to promote our club in that conference. This will help us. To market or to make sure that other people in the online world understand about Buddies. I am very thankful to our VP PR, Nicole, and our VP Education, Dennis, for stepping up and making sure that our club is known to other areas. Now, I'm going to start why I'm sharing this. Why I am telling this information. First of all, I want to brag about my leadership team. Second, I want to tell you, when I started, say 6 years ago, I think my first role was VPPR. When I started as a VPPR, at that time, we are trying to prepare what you can call newsletters, etc., and share it with the people, with the guests who have attended, and we want to make sure that our club is promoted. When I talked to the Toastmaster at that time, hey, I want to put our club in the Facebook, they said, no. Toastmaster is a proprietary thing. You can't put it in the Facebook. Fellow Toastmasters, within this 5-6 years, the world has changed. I'm trying to share my screen. 1 minute. Let me see whether I am able to share. 1 second. Let me open this. And sorry for the delay. I should have been ready. My PC is slow today. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Thank you. I am just comparing two sets of period in 2013 to 2017. One is on 3 years, one is the current period, and the one is a previous period. Facebook, not available. YouTube, we can't put any recording. All are in-person meeting. And in this year, 2017, TI is asking us to use Facebook as a PR strategy. The PR strategy has changed. They are making sure that we use the online tools effectively. We are using Facebook. We are sharing our club recording in YouTube. We are using Meetup, Slack, which I have not even heard about it. First time I heard Slack was in Buddies Toastmaster last year, when they said, hey, Slack is a great tool. Use that. It is free and we can utilize it effectively. Thanks to Bruce, who introduced the tool. I think Bruce has started first, and thanks to him, and we all learned another tool, which is an effective tool. Then WhatsApp. Who is not using the WhatsApp? Everybody is using WhatsApp every minute, and these are the tools that have evolved recently. Next, how was in 2013-16? We used personal contacts only to get new members. Still, we are using the current people to use the strategies. We are trying to get more people through our current members, but that strategy continues. But that is not getting the enough membership through the personal contact. Newsletters, we used to have a printed newsletters and we used to attach it in our welcome kit to the guest. But now everything is online. Even the Toastmaster magazine is online. They are not sending any more printed copies. They said that go and use and then print it yourself if you need it. My first VPPR strategy was a radio show. I think I've shared it before also. This was very expensive. We got 2 minutes of your time. Will you believe that? 2 minutes. For that, we need to prepare so many times. We need to rehearse. And exactly, we got 2 minutes of your time. I think our club, Patrick also wanted to try the radio show. He mentioned in one of the speeches. But this is a great strategy if we utilize properly. The final one is a pamphlet. We used this strategy for Indochina Festival. We distributed all the pamphlet. Hey, come and join Communicators Club. This was in Louisville at that time, but we are still using pamphlets, but all are online. So fellow Toastmasters, there are different strategies that we can use it. The goal, ultimate goal is to make sure that we bring new members. We promote our club. We are promoting our club. I think now Buddies is known to more members outside our club. I am also receiving many things. They are also asking me, hey, Buddies, Kannan, are you participating in this conference, in that conference? People are calling us. That shows that we are known to the outside world. That is going to help the new team also to perform better. Let us continue the PR strategies. Let us also try to bring more members. We have already lost 13 members. We had 46, now only 34 members have renewed. We lost 13 members, so 47 we had. Now it is only 34 we are having on the roll. So yeah, every time renewal, there will be a drop, but let us follow our PR strategies and let us make sure that we get 50 members. We need to be a super club. That is one of my vision. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Kanan. Great elaboration on how we have been working so far. Thanks for letting us know. Next speaker will be Nicole, and she will be evaluated and introduced by Bruce. Bruce, are you ready?
Thank you, Denise. And Nico will be working on the first speech on level 1 evaluation and feedback, the first speech. And she is also working on visionary communication. Her speech title is Anything Worth Doing. The purpose of this project is to present a speech on any topic and receive feedback and apply them to a second speech. Now let's welcome Nicole.
Your
We
audio
can barely
is
hear
really
you,
low.
Nicole.
Still no audio. Nope. Okay, let's give her 1 or 2 minutes while she comes back. Meanwhile, does anyone want to share what you thought of talent and strength from the beginning, building up on the debating spirit that Patrick brought up at the beginning? Let's see.
Hi, how about now?
Hi. Yes, we can hear you. Great. Okay, we'll talk later.
Okay,
Back to you,
perfect.
Nicole.
I apologize. I had to connect from my phone. Okay. Right. I don't know about most of the people here, but at least I say I would identify myself as a perfectionist. And what does it mean to be a perfectionist? So to me, I usually don't like to do things unless I am very sure that I'm going to do them very well. And quite frankly, I've noticed that that has hindered me, at least during my Toastmasters journey, very specifically during the beginning. I remember that at first I had no idea how to give my first speech. And in the first Toastmasters Club that I was in, it wasn't actually until about 6 months in that I gave my icebreaker. And then after I gave my icebreaker, I remember feeling so, I'm going to say intimidated is the word. And funny thing is that I wasn't feeling intimidated by anyone in the club. I was actually just intimidating myself because I had such a high bar for my expectations that I felt that I didn't need it during my first speech. So I definitely wanted to meet it for my second speech. And what happened was that I kept trying to find the perfect theme, the perfect topic, the perfect outfit, because it was an in-person club, so everyone can see the whole of me. And I kept trying to find the perfect everything that I never actually gave my second speech at that club. And I was at that club for more than a year. So I know that, at least for me, wanting to be perfect is something that I've struggled with. And how was it that I overcame this need for perfection? I haven't completely overcome it, if I'm going to be honest. But I remember I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was trying to explain the frustration I was feeling with something else, something work related. And I remember that she told me, oh, so here's some advice. Anything worth doing is worth doing poorly. And that confused me very much so, because I was like, why would I do something poorly? I don't want to do anything poorly. That reflects very bad on me. Why are you giving me this advice? And then I kept thinking about it, and I kept thinking about it. And the more I thought about it, as time passed, the more it kind of made sense. So here's the thing. Anything worth doing is worth doing poorly, because even if you do it poorly, you're still learning a lot more than not doing it. If you keep tying yourself down with trying to make it perfect, trying to look perfect, trying for everything to be exactly as you expect it to be, you'll probably not do much during your life, or you'll probably won't get far in that journey that it is that you're doing. And this applies to Toastmasters, this applies to your job, this applies to anything. So I know that I would freeze, I would stop, I wouldn't know how to proceed just because I kept wanting to do something perfect. And then when I didn't know what to do, I looked online on how to do things better. And then there are different opinions online, which is very interesting, and trying to find the best one is it's a matter of personal opinion. So I remember that I took that advice to heart, and instead of actually trying to start with the speeches, I started with the facilitating roles. And this was made easier when I came into Buddies. So what I really liked about Buddies was the environment of warmth of you can try here and we'll help you be better. Even if you don't know how to do it, we'll actually give you pointers on how to be better, which is awesome. It's why I feel more comfortable speaking, for example, right now. Before, at the start of my journey, I wouldn't have given a back pocket speech for anything. You could have paid me and I would not be speaking. And then right now, more than 2 years later, I am able to actually talk without having to have this over excessive need to prepare. And even though I'm not necessarily feeling like this is the best speech that has ever come out of my mouth, I do feel comfortable enough to speak with you, because by doing this naturally, by actually trying, I'm able to see where it is that I am during my Toastmasters journey and what it is that I need to improve on, whether it is things that I've prepared for or something that just flows. So anything worth doing is worth doing poorly. Just start out with a meeting speech, start out with a facilitator role. Just do anything, but just start out. And everyone starts out poorly. No one starts anything being the best. You don't start playing a sport being a pro athlete. You don't start being a Toastmaster being the best speaker of the world. Everyone starts out poorly, but the important thing is to start. Because once you start, even if it's poorly, as you keep progressing, your poorly is going to keep going up. And that bar that you started at is going to keep raising. So as long as you push yourself at a pace that you're comfortable with, you'll see that by starting out doing something poorly, you're actually a lot better off than you were before you started. Thank you very much. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Nicole. Very lovely message. Now I will call forth the poll for the best speaker.
No, it is going to be Nicole only. No problem. I don't want to be in that poll. It is Nicole. Thank you.
Okay.
Let us not
thanks,
run a poll.
Kanan.
It is going to be Nicole.
Okay, thanks for letting us know. Now let's jump to the next session of the meeting, which is impromptu speaking, which will be run by Marina. Marina, please take it over.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. Right, okay, this is going to be a different format to the one to which we are normally used to. It's going to be round robin. So listen up carefully and I'll explain to you exactly how it works. We are going to continue a story. So I'm going to tell you the beginning of a story right at the beginning of the round robin. And then I'm going to call on the participants and we are going to continue with the story. All right, so get yourselves ready. And the story must be continued by the last word uttered by the last person. All right. When the time bell is rung, and in this case, the timer is Tracy, and she's going to say stop, the speaker must stop, even if they are in mid-sentence. And the next person is going to carry on. Okay, just to confirm your times, we have got 30 seconds is going to be green, 1 minute is going to be yellow, and 1 minute 30 seconds is going to be red. So Tracy, just keep an eye on the maximum time, which is 1 minute and 30 seconds. As soon as you hit that time limit, shout stop, and the person must stop. If you stop before that, that's fine. Then the next person will carry on. Okay, listen to the story. The washing machine shuddered to a halt. The radio died and the kettle stopped in mid-boil. The power was out again. He looked out of the window to make sure that it was not only his house which was affected. And then from the window, he saw. Right, our first person to carry on with the story is going to be Nicholas.
My apologies. I'd prefer to pass today. My voice is very weak today.
Oh my goodness, Nicholas, don't do this to me. All right, do we have any volunteers while I'm looking at our list?
Patrick would like to, yeah.
Yes, go Patrick.
Patrick, you're mute.
He saw in the sky a big object that was hovering over, and light was cascading down on the ground. And he looked across the street and he saw his neighbor suddenly. Thank you.
Ragav, please continue.
Suddenly looking out and seeing so many aliens walking out, and they're all wearing masks.
Raul, please continue.
The aliens were using masks because suddenly there was a news that lots of coronaviruses were spread in that area. Because of that, the municipality has decided to stop the power and all the services for the time being, because air conditioning and all those stuff, they are very much relevant for the in spread of coronaviruses. And then suddenly the control goes to the aliens, an entire area.
Sadie, please continue.
So since it was really dark and the aliens had come with this special machine to spray and vaccinate everybody overnight, they were determined to save the earth and conquer. But us humans were so scared that we didn't realize that the aliens had been watching us all along. This had been all a test. But when would we get back to realities? The aliens would be here for another chapter of this wonderful story.
Lucille, please continue.
But what about one space called poor countries about this situation? They didn't get opportunity to receive what can protect them against this new virus? How could we manage? Unfortunately, I am in this area of poorest countries in the world. How to manage and get opportunity to have this vaccine? This is really a problem. I am too discouraged. I don't know how to do. I continue wearing my mask because it is the only one way to be protected. Maybe we have been forgotten. I don't know. Hey, I need help.
Bruce, please continue.
The help is that we need to send our people to their planet to learn their technology, to learn their experience about keeping their health. Like they can live up to like 1,000 years, one person. Why cannot we do the same thing? And we can learn and keep going. And yeah, maybe in the future, we can explore other planets. And then we can move our people there. And we can keep away from the vicious virus on the earth. Next one.
I'm going to stop there. Denise, I'm not quite sure how much time I have for this.
You can keep going
Maybe
if you'd like.
Okay, do I have another minute perhaps?
Yes, yes.
Perfect, perfect. Right, next person, Claude.
Yes, vaccine hesitancy. Despite the efforts made in the world to have vaccine, to procure vaccine for every country, you still have this kind of behavior that is throwing down the number, that could draw down the number of those who have the opportunity to get the vaccine. The vaccine hesitancy is another threat. And this really is something we should combat, we should fight. Thank you.
Ahmed.
Yes, soon after we left the Earth to treat other aliens on other planets, we neglected that this coronavirus could evolve and also haunt the animals on this very Earth. So we did everything we could to try to save them, but it was way too late and all of the animals died.
Hon, would you conclude the story for us, please?
Marina, one quick thing. I think Lillian raised her hand. She wanted to participate.
Oh, yes, I see that there. Yes, Lillian, please, would you continue?
Wow, all the animals are dead and we are alive, vaccinated, and all our animals and our pets are gone. What kind of life are we going to live after this episode? And as I sat there thinking about this whole situation, what kind of a world are we going to have after this pandemic? All of a sudden, the lights came on, my TV turned on, and I realized I was in a big dream. And I was so thankful that this was just a dream and not reality.
Well, Lillian, that was an absolutely stunning conclusion, but I'm gonna just let Hon have the last word. Over to you, please, Hon.
Well, I think that was a wonderful way to end it, actually, with Lillian's conclusion, because the summary was, we can really make whatever we want of the future, really, and it is for us to make. So thank you all very much for this wonderful participation in this story.
Lovely, Han. Thank you very, very much. As we certainly did travel around the world, from looking out our window and having no electricity to all about the virus and animals. So thank you everybody for participating and making it so enjoyable. A nice change from our normal impromptu session. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, and back to you.
Thank you, Marina, for that wonderful session. I could see that everyone enjoyed it and everyone did such an outstanding job. The votes are going to be very difficult. Nicholas, can you please pull up the polls?
Just give me a brief moment to finish entering all of the names because there's a lot of them.
Yeah. No, this was excellent participation. Like, we should do this more often. Great job, Marina. Okay, so while the poll is coming up, what we're going to do is we're going to jump into the webinar so that we can include the facilitator's evaluations of the webinar speeches in the evaluation session of the meeting. Okay, there's the poll. Wow, so hard. Okay, while you continue with the votes, I will go briefly over the webinar challenge. If some of you went to our agenda, you would have seen a paragraph that summarizes what the challenge is and what it's for. I'm going to go briefly over that. So the webinar challenge is a friendly engagement with the purpose of our club voting for who they think may be the best to represent Buddies in the VTM conference, Virtual Toastmasters Conference, in June 26. Each contestant will provide a 3 to 5 minute webinar on any topic, although it is encouraged for it to be motivational and/or inspirational. Challengers who speak for less than 2 minutes and 30 seconds or more than 5 minutes and 30 seconds will be disqualified, since we are following the rules of the 2021 VTM conferences webinar contest rules. Now, this is going to be a challenge. What we're doing here in Buddies is a challenge, which means it's flexible. But when the winner goes to the conference, they will be adhered by the contest rules. Now, don't worry that if you have any questions, we will be there to support you, to whoever wins. Now, should there be any questions, please bring them forth now before we begin. If no, I will be sending the parameters that the contest, the VTM conference, is going to be evaluating for your review while we see the challengers present their webinars.
I have
Any
one question.
Go ahead.
Can we share our screen?
Yes, Nicholas, please make sure that everyone is able to share their screens. Raghav, did you have a question?
When does the time start? Does it start because we need time to share our screen and go to the presentation mode? So.
Okay, so I hope Nicholas prepares, makes it available for everyone to share their screen.
It's set up.
Right, and the timer is going to give you the cue for when she starts counting. And when she starts counting, that's when your time starts. You have to account for the time you take on bringing up your PowerPoint presentation and bringing it down and asking questions. All of that has to be accounted within the 2 and 30 seconds and the 5 and 30 seconds, your entire time lapse. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Any more questions? No? Okay, then I will be uploading the file. Just give me 1 second. Okay, 1 second. Okay, I have shared the file in the chat. Can anyone confirm that the file is there? Yes, thanks, Hadan. Okay. So without any further ado, our first challenger is Patrick Guilfoyle. Tracy, please let us know when Patrick is able to start. And once she lets us know, Patrick, the floor is yours.
You may start.
Fellow Toastmasters, my name is Patrick Guilfoyle. I am the Youth Leadership Program Facilitator for District 93. Now, we need to give opportunities for our youth today. It's very important, especially since COVID-19 has taken away the opportunities for many young people to engage in meaningful activities and personal development with each other. I believe in Toastmasters. Oh, and I'm not sharing my screen. Okay, just give me a second here. There we go. Little bump on the road there. So yes, we need to give the youth, give them an opportunity to grow, to be able to communicate, and to build their leadership skills. It's very important, especially in the COVID-19 era that we live in. Now, who am I? Who is Patrick Guilfoyle? Well, I am a former area director, and I have hosted 4 YLPs. And I'm also conducting another YLP at my school right now for 6th grade students. I've also created one Gavel Club, the one and only Gavel Club in District 93 in South Korea. What is a Gavel Club? It's like a Toastmasters Club for people between the ages of 12 and 18. Now, why teach youth leadership and communication skills? What is a YLP? How can you start a YLP? And how many facilitators are required? These are things to think about. Why teach youth communication and leadership skills today? Many people might think, well, young people, they know how to communicate and they have leadership skills. Will a YLP help them? Well, think of it this way. Does electronic communication teach our young people today real face-to-face communication? Certainly not. No. What should we do? Help them develop their interpersonal skills. And I'm confident that a YLP will do just that. How can we do it? The Toastmasters Youth Leadership Program. Now, the Youth Leadership Program allows young people to learn valuable skills, including evaluating their own speaking abilities, preparing and giving speeches, giving impromptu talks, controlling their voice, their vocabulary, and their gestures, giving constructive feedback, which is very important. How can we start a YLP? Well, there's no cost for the participants, but a club or an area or a division, a district, may sponsor a YLP by appointing a YLP coordinator. The coordinator must be a Toastmaster in good standing with at least 6 speeches completed. No cost to the participants. However, it's not free. It costs about $50 to facilitate a program for about 15 participants. Now, you can cut your costs down by making the files into PDF files, making your program by scanning it and then giving PDF files to the participant. 8 weeks, 2-hour sessions, 7th to 12th grade, 4 speeches they will give. They will evaluate other speeches, introduction to chairmanship, impromptu speeches, learn how to use presentation software. The coordinators, what can they get from it? Well, the participants first, they will learn how to give speeches, impromptu speaking, conduct meetings, listen effectively, evaluate speakers. And the role takers, the coordinators will manage students from 7th to 12th grade, build and empower the next generation of leaders, and expand their own leadership skills. Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Patrick. Tracy, did you get the time? If you can, please report out in the chat. And we will move on to our next challenger, which is Raghav. And Tracy, as soon as you are ready, please let Raghav know. And then Raghav, the floor is yours.
Just a minute. Okay. So are you able to see my screen?
Yes, but please wait until Tracy gives you the cue.
Okay.
You may begin.
Okay. Artificial intelligence, or AI, is growing at an exponential rate. We have to adapt our skills to grow and strive in the AI era. Worldwide research points to one prominent skill, the primary attribute that is very important to be a leader, to grow and strive in any industry, and that is emotional intelligence. My objective in the next 5 minutes is to give you a glance into emotional intelligence. And I would share about self-management and some practical tips on how to enhance this skill. I will then close out with a short challenge to you. Why does emotional intelligence matter? To demonstrate this, I will take you to some situation rooms. Please use the chat box to indicate which of these rooms you've been to before. Room 1. You are the player who's about to take the penalty shot in a football match or the like. Room 2. Your kid is angry and frustrated and you need to pacify them. Room 3. You're having an argument with your partner. Room 4. You are about to give a much expected presentation at work or in Toastmasters. Now think, how did you respond in this situation? And how did you react? What were the emotions that you had? And how did you overcome those emotions to succeed and resolve this issue peacefully? The unanimous answer to that question is that you have used emotional intelligence. As all of you would have understood from your own personal experiences in the situation rooms, emotional intelligence is our ability to understand, manage your own emotions and those of people around you. It has 4 main components: self-awareness, self-management, empathy, and relationship management. It's a very vital component for being successful and happy in any relationship, be it personal or professional. Now, let's look into self-management. This is about learning to control your emotions, making friends with your emotions and getting them to work for you, practicing optimism and slowly exploring outside the boundaries. Some tips to practice self-management are to take full accountability for your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. Taking full accountability gives you agency over this and it attracts success. The next tip is to write down your core values. This helps to bring clarity. And once you write down your core values, you can go back to this whenever you have an emotional turmoil. The next tip is to practice gratitude. Practicing gratitude helps to give you a sense of positivity and optimism in your life. And you'll be surprised on how many good things you have in your life at all points. The last tip is to start journaling. Write about your emotions, how you felt, and write how the emotion impacted your result. Then slowly analyze how you could have modified your emotion to get to your desired result. Now let's play a small game. Name as many emotions as you can in the chat box. Okay. What you will see is that we tend to bucket our emotions into different groups. But research tells that you have to name and identify the exact emotion. You see a graph between pleasantness and energy, and you see diverse range of emotions. Use this graph or the lie to identify which emotion you feel at which situation and how it is impacting the result. So the next time you feel emotional, dig deeper, identify the real emotion, name it, and don't react impulsively. Practice breath work, power posing, and mindfulness. Then slowly modify your emotion to get to your desired result. I would like to challenge you to take at least one of the below actions as one step forward in improving your EI. Phone a friend and check on them. Practice writing about gratitude. 3 things that you're grateful for today. Write a personal thank you note to someone dear. Or simply practice mindfulness in nature. Remember, the goal is not to be better than the other man or woman, but to be better than your previous self. The iceberg of success and happiness is EQ. Back to you, contest chair.
Thank you, Raghav. Tracy, please report the timeout in the chat. And the next we will have Nicole Lopez. Yep. She will be our next challenger. As soon as Tracy, you're ready, please let her know when to begin. And then Nicole, the floor is yours.
You're on mute.
She may
Nicole.
begin.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so please write yes in the chat if anyone has ever had trouble persuading someone. If you found yourself trying to convince someone to do something and you just don't know how. Okay, so in order to cause change, you should try to be a catalyst. But what is a catalyst? So in chemistry, a catalyst is a substance that increases the rate of change. It makes change happen faster. Socially, a catalyst is a person or an event that causes a change. But how is it that things change? How does change happen? When you're a catalyst, you don't try to push change to happen. In order for change to happen, the first thing you have to do is to identify the roadblocks to change, and then you remove them. But what are the roadblocks to change, and how do you remove these roadblocks? So I'm going to show you the reduce method by Jonah Berger. And the reduce method consists of identifying the 5 most common roadblocks are reactance, endowment, distance, uncertainty, and corroborating evidence. So let's start off with reactance. When you push people, they push back. So when you try to push change, when you keep trying to tell someone you have to change, you need to do this, people are going to push back. They don't want to step out of their comfort zone to change something. You don't want to be the nagging person telling them you have to change. So how can you deal with them pushing back? Show them that they have the freedom to choose the change that you're saying. They don't have to do it. You're just showing them an option on the menu, and they can choose to change if not. A lot of persuasion is self-persuasion. You can't force someone to do something. The person has to convince themselves that this is the best thing for them. Now, the second letter, E, is for endowment. People are married to how they do things. So I like to do things a certain way, and unless you show me that what I'm doing, I'm really losing by doing the same thing over and over again, I keep doing the same thing. I mean, works. If it ain't broken, don't fix it. No. So what you want to do is, instead of showing them that you have this awesome way of doing things, what you should do is show them what it is they are losing by continuing doing the things the same way. The third one is distance. If it's farther than my backyard, that is not my problem. If what you're showing them is something very long term and something that they have to find resources that are out of reach, or that they have to work extra hard to get them, people aren't going to change. They're not going to do it. They like things to be within the acceptable distance and reach usually. So whenever you're trying to convince someone, make sure that the resources are very readily available. The next one is uncertainty. I'm not changing because I don't know how. I don't know how to change. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So you show them all of the options, all of the different ways they can do. Not everyone works the same way. So make sure that when you're offering them the different ways on how they can do it, it's something that's attainable to them, something that they can understand, and something that they can actually do. The last one is corroborating evidence. How can I be sure that that's actually true? That the change that I'm going to do is actually going to work the way you're saying it? So this is the part where you bring in statistics, facts, witness statements, etc. To show them that by changing and doing this, they're actually going to get the benefits of the change. So how is it that you can be a catalyst? You reduce the roadblocks to change. And then people will convince themselves, they'll be able to see that your change is better and you have just persuaded them. So I think I have just enough time to see if there are any questions in the chat. Okay, I don't see any questions in the chat, but if anyone has any more questions, you can write to me via nicole.lopez.torres@gmail.com, or you can just write to me via Slack, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. Thank you very much for your time. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Nicole. Tracy, please report out in the chat. And we'll be getting ready to receive Hodan, our next challenger. Tracy, as soon as you're ready, please give us the cue, and Hodan, the floor is yours.
She can go ahead.
Hello everyone, my name is Hodan and welcome to my webinar, Being Curious and the Subject of Curiosity. Today I have a personal incident to relate to you where my curiosity taught me a lesson. It's a lesson that I would like to share with you, but before that, let me ask you, my fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, have you ever learned something big by asking a question? But at the same time, you wish that you never asked that question? Write in the chat, yes, please, if you have had that experience as well. Well, let me take you back. It was this particular afternoon back in 2010 in Uganda. My grandmother and I had rented a small room in this big villa where a lot of our relatives were staying as well. In this big house, I became curious. I became especially curious about two people who seemed to be the late 70s. They were Ali and Habiba, and the reason they caught my attention was that they were very sweet to each other. You could see them sitting under the big tree in the garden, talking peacefully. I especially remember every time Habiba got her meals, she would shout out, "Did Ali get his food too? Did Ali eat a lot?" And I was amazed and thought, what a perfect couple. They show everyone they love and care for each other. So I finally decided one afternoon to satisfy my curiosity and ask 2 questions about my favorite couple in the house. That afternoon, a whole group of the relatives, including Habiba and Ali, were sitting together and talking as usual. It felt like a good opportunity for me to ask, and I said, I want to ask you something, Grandma Habiba. I used to call her Grandma, and she said, yes, daughter, ask. And I said, I am really amazed how you love and care for Grandpa Ali. And I want to know, how long have you been married to each other, and how many children do you have? Everyone was shocked and looked at each other with disbelief for a moment. And then they burst out laughing. I was shocked for a moment as well and wondered if I had asked something wrong. Little did I know the weight of these 2 questions. What I then learned was that Grandma Habiba and Grandpa Ali were a never marriage couple. They were, in fact, a mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. Yes, that was exactly my reaction. Ali was now sick, and that's why I had assumed he was in his late 70s, which he was not. I remember the next morning, I couldn't bring myself to look in the eyes of Grandma Habiba and Grandpa Ali anymore. Even though Habiba said to me, she was glad I asked, but I was so embarrassed and felt that I could never be more foolish than I had been that afternoon. Now, after 11 years, you may wonder if I'm still curious, right? Well, I'm glad you asked. I am still curious, but I don't get embarrassed anymore. Why? Because the one I ask about everything now is Google. Yes, you heard it right, Google. I get to stand in front of you today by asking Google how to join Toastmasters and learn public speaking. And here I am today, closer to my goal than ever before. Because I was curious. Speaking of curiosity, does anyone who wrote yes in the chat may have a further question for me?
I have a question.
Yeah, Marina.
Hold on. Is there another reason why you don't get embarrassed now by asking questions?
Very good question, thank you. I think it's my belief in this old Chinese proverb, which goes like this. He who asks a question is a fool for 5 minutes, but he who does not ask remains a fool forever. So I always choose to be a fool for 5 minutes than to remain a fool forever. Unfortunately, I see that my time is almost up. So my fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, thank you for joining my webinar today. And my call to action to you is ask and be proud of your curiosity, even if it embarrasses you sometimes. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Hodan, and thank you all participants. Tracy, please report out the time for Hodan. And what I'm going to do is not call the vote yet because I want the audience to think about the parameters and to think about the webinars. We will pass on to the evaluation session of the meeting, and afterwards we will vote on the facilitator team and on the webinar challengers. Okay, thanks again to all participants and buddies. I hope you enjoyed the challenge. I did. Now let's move on to the evaluation session, which will be run by Bruce, our general evaluator. Bruce, please take the stage.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Denise. An evaluation is very important to anyone if we want to learn something from what we have seen or we have learned. Because we can always learn something new from other perspective. That is why we are here being a Toastmaster meeting, and we can learn from each other. Now, first, we will go with the speech evaluation, and our first evaluator is sorry, who is first?
Rahul.
Rahul. Yeah, Rahul. Please welcome Rahul to evaluate our speaker one, Kenan. Rahul, this is yours.
Thanks, Mr. General Evaluator. Thanks, Kannan, for delivering a fantastic speech and in the right time when we really understand the importance of PR. First, I would like to reiterate the purpose of the speech. The purpose of the speech was practice the skills for effective use of public relations and share some aspect of speakers' personal public relations strategy. Kannan, you did very well in establishing the effective use of PR. Your speech contains the strategy, information, visual aids when you explain the hurdles which you had in past with the lack of the tools like Facebook and YouTube versus what we have currently like Slack, Facebook, and YouTube. You also shared your experience from your past club and how you overcome the situations given that you have very limited options at that time. So it gives me an impression that the phrase necessity is the mother of invention. And as we came along, we got the more tools and it's a bit easier now to establish a good PR strategy. Also, you encouraged everyone with the strategy for the use of in future in our club. And I liked it the most at the end when you displayed sheer equanimity in citing the importance of public relations in the wake of hurdles we have with decrease in membership in our club. So that was the right note which you hit. If I had to do make some suggestions, then that is at the beginning, there was a little bit of a stumbling when you try to share the presentation, and we all know that it's not easy to do that in online platforms, but still I thought to mention it. Also, when you mentioned the importance of public relations strategy at the end, when you mentioned that we have lost some members, I was looking for a little bit more power and examples in that delivery. But to me, it looks like that your speech lost a little bit of strength. It's a bit faltered at the end of the speech. So that's the thing which I noted. Otherwise, it was a fantastic speech with lots of information, lots of comparisons, what we have now, what we had in future, what we'll have in future, and what we had in past. So it was fantastic with all the information. You started well in the body and the end. Everything was very fine, and I'm looking forward for your next speech. Back to Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Rahul, for your evaluation to our President Kenan's speech. Now let's welcome Bruce. The second evaluator is me, and I will be evaluating Nico's speech. I have to say, Nico, you have done a great job because it is a back pocket speech and you didn't prepare before the meeting. And wow, I cannot imagine that you can deliver such high quality speech. I mean, it's well organized and the key message were, across the story. That's very good. Now I will just give you some specific highlights here. I think you have done a great job at gestures, and you've been showing some information to us with your hand, left and right. Another thing is that it's a back pocket speech, which is at a very high quality. I cannot say that, I mean, it's fantastic, it's perfect. And the third thing is the message. Anything worth doing, and start out poorly. And just, keep doing it, you will raise the worth of the thing you are doing. But because this is the first project of evaluation and feedback, actually, I think, in my opinion, if you just give impromptu speech, for the second speech, it is better than the first, because you can get some really valuable feedback, because you prepared, you know what do you want to demonstrate in your speech. The first is your device, because when you about to speak, you were inaudible. So next time, just test your device before the meeting so that no hassles anymore. The second is lightning. I don't know why your light is a little bit dark, and we can see shadows on your face. And the third is because you told a story, like, okay, your friends or someone, they told you something. Why don't you just turn that into stories? Not only a statement. That will be more interesting and engaging with the audience. The fourth one is connect with the audience. Maybe you can try to ask questions or just make a pause or look at the camera and pause and smile to the audience. Then the audience will know, okay, you are talking on verbally or non-verbally to them. That will be more impactful. But overall, you have done a great job. And the next time, I hope you can just focus on the suggestions I gave. I hope it's helpful for you. And I think, in my opinion, it's better for your speech, for your second speech. Back to General Evaluator, also Bruce. Okay, now let's raise the poll for best evaluators, and then we will continue on with facilitating team report. Now let's welcome our grammarian, Han, to give his report.
Okay, thank you, Bruce. Hi, I'm the grammarian, I'm Han. So the word of the day, I think wasn't used so much. Maybe I have missed it if anybody had, but I just caught Rahul using it twice and Denise using it once at the beginning. So I apologize again if you did say it and I didn't catch it, but that's what I found. And then the phrases that I found or words that were nice was at the beginning, Kanan said, we need to be a super club. And when I think he was talking about buddies, and I think it's the way he said it. I mean, it's not the same when I say it. And yeah, he had a lot of power when he said it. And Nicole said, I kept trying to find the perfect everything. And I thought that was a very sweet phrase. And it was a speech about not always having to be perfect. That was excellent, I thought. And Raghav, make friends with your emotions and make them work for you. And I thought that was very wise advice. And then Nicole said, Nicole again, a lot of persuasion is self-persuasion. I thought that was very interesting. And Hodan said, ask and be proud of your curiosity. And I thought that was very, very useful advice. And finally, Rahul said, necessity is the mother of invention. And I really liked those phrases. So thank you very much. And that's my report. Back to you, Bruce.
Thank you very much, Han, for your report. And let's welcome our R-counter, Kenan, to give his report as an R-counter.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. I think today the winner is myself because I had challenges when I was sharing the presentation. I had 4 to 5 hours and 2 to 3 arms. I stopped counting there. I am the king of hours and arms. Nicole, when she was presenting, I heard 2 hours. I did not monitor the R's during the webinar because I was focusing on the webinar, the contents and other things. I did not do that. And then during the table topic, it was no problem. It was going smoothly. I did not catch anyone. They did an excellent job. I was watching during the table topics whether anybody is doing R's and ums. Nobody did anything. And during evaluation, Bruce did an excellent job, but just did one during the evaluation, not during the general evaluation, during the evaluation of Nicole's speech. That concludes my report, and Rahul did not have any R's or ums. So we did great, except me. I need to improve. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Kenan, for your report. Now let's welcome our Zoom master, audio body language monitor, Ahmed, to give his report. Ahmed.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. So for the prepared speeches, Kenan had great audio and video qualities. He also engaged his hands effectively throughout the meeting. For Nicole, even though he had technical difficulties, he still managed to deliver a very clear speech. The video and the audio were both clear. So moving to the webinar challenges, Patrick, you had a great presentation. It had visuals, but maybe something you can move on is by reducing the text in each slide because the audience cannot read and listen to you at the same time. So less text. Moving to Ragav, I like the slides. They are very attractive. And your hands were engaged throughout the meeting. Nicole, you had beautiful slides. I like the blue color, but for me, the voice was not clear. I don't know about the rest. And your hands were engaged. Hodan, you had great, actually excellent body language. You even stepped closer to the camera multiple times, which I find effective and draws the attention of the audience. That's all I have, and back to you.
Thank you very much, Ahmed, for your report. Now let's welcome our final facilitator, timer, Tracy, to give her report. Tracy.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bruce. My fellow Toastmasters, today for prepared speeches, we had Kenan, who came in at 6 minutes and 29 seconds, and Nicole with 6 minutes and 26 seconds. We move on to the round robin impromptu. Both Kenan and Nicole met the required times for their speeches, actually, which their speeches were 5 to 7 minutes. For round robin impromptu speakers, we had Patrick with a time of 21 seconds, Ragav, 8 seconds, Rahul, 37 seconds, Zaidi, 42 seconds, Lucille, 1 minute and 1 second, Bruce, 30 seconds, Claude, 41 seconds, Ahmed, 25 seconds, Lillian, 39 seconds, and Han, 18 seconds. The minimum requirement was 30 seconds, and there were 3 persons that did not meet that requirement. I've placed it in the chat for your viewing. Then we move on to the web challenges. Our speakers were Patrick, who had a time of 5 minutes and 22 seconds, Ragav, 5 minutes and 3 seconds, Nicole, 5 minutes and 1 second, Honan, 4 minutes and 58 seconds. They all met the requirements of the times for the speeches, and no one exceeded the times. And Master Toastmaster, my time report is concluded. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well done, Tracy. Now I will give my report as a general evaluator. Today, I think we have done a great job, everyone, and everyone performed well on your role. And today, Kenan warmed up the meeting before the meeting with introduction of the guests and members. That's very good. But we started a bit late. But of course, we announced some important notification about our election for next meeting. So everyone, I hope today if you're here, next week, I hope you are still here. And another thing is that the meeting rules were not introduced, if I didn't miss anything. The sergeant at arms role. And we should always do that because we have guests and new members. They don't know what rule to go by. They can know, okay, I should keep it doing it, like mute myself when I'm not talking. And also, as president, can club mission, and you have to state it at the beginning. So just warm up and motivate the members. Yeah. Our Toastmaster of the day, Denise, you did a very excellent job. And the theme and your explanation, like you said, consistency to perfection. That's wonderful. And it suits the theme, talents vs strength. Grammarian Han, you give very good introduction, but I just hope grammarian, our counter, and our timer, if possible, next meeting, just give more details, like who said what, and who said how many hours, right? And you can, as a timer, you can present the report so everyone can see visually. That would be wonderful. But other than that, you did, excellent. Our Zoom master also give more specific suggestions to the audience or participants. That would be more beneficial to all the audience. Our evaluator Rahul, I think, it's just, you are a senior Toastmaster, and every time your evaluation is very well organized, and you covered each point like suggestions and the highlights for the good things, and you conclude your evaluation with a positive tone. And as Bruce, I think, of course, and we have the same framework to follow. So every time we have to cover like the speech purpose and the good points and some improvements and everything. Just encourage the speaker to give more speeches for the future. Our tip-top master, Marina, well done. Even though you said this is the first time you have done it, but it went well. But the next time, if you just do it, maybe you can talk to someone who have done the role, so you know how to do it. That would be better, so no confusion at all. For the webinar, I think later we will just see the result. We will know, okay, who has done the best. But for now, I think I will conclude my report. Today, we had another successful meeting. Back to you, Denise. And at the same time, please raise the poll for best meeting facilitator. Thanks.
Thank you, Bruce, for delivering an excellent evaluation session. And yes, thank you all the challengers for participating. I think you are all charged with great equanimity, as well for every other speaker in this meeting. I think today we have shown great strength as a club, despite the challenges that we always have, because that's a part of life. I encourage you to think about what a talent is in comparison with a strength. When I spoke about talent being something natural and strength being something that you develop until you achieve consistency. Both are good, both are great. None is better than the other, but it's good to be aware of what each does and how to implement it to be better each and every day. With this, I will pull up the poll for the webinar challenge as soon as the facilitator poll is done. And I would like to encourage everyone to please provide or request feedback as to the webinar challengers. They are They are not prepared speeches, so they don't have an evaluator assigned, but I'm pretty sure that they would like to receive feedback, especially those of us that have participated as a judge in a contest before. I know Kanan has, I have, perhaps Bruce, Marina, Patrick. There are very good resources in this club, so please, challengers, feel free to reach out to any one of us to request specialized feedback.
I have one question to the club secretary. As a co-host, will I get the vote for the webinar challenge? Because I am not seeing any poll. Will I get a, will I be allowed to vote for the webinar challenge?
Unfortunately, no, there's no way to get I'd have to remove you as a co-host, and then I don't know if you automatically have the poll show up or if I'd have to relaunch the poll or something.
No, no, don't worry. Don't worry. Anyhow, no problem. I just asked. That's all. No
Well,
problem.
I'm closing my part of the meeting and I will pass it on to Kanan, President Kanan. Please take the stage. Thank you all.
All right. I think our club secretary is going to post the poll for the webinar challenge. Please note that I am not going to vote and club secretary is not going to vote. We too will not be voting, but all the best to every participant. They did an excellent job, whether you win or not. Everybody has done a great job. I love those things, but that is great. Okay, let us wait for the result. The winner will go and represent Buddies. Once the winner is announced, let us all give the separate feedback to the winner so that he or she can make the amends to the presentation by incorporating the feedback and present it in the VidCom, and we hope for the success there. All right, is that been announced?
You've got it in the chat.
All right. Thank you. I'm going to start with the best speaker. Best speaker, without any question, it is going to be Nicole. Nicole, how do you feel about receiving the award?
Thank you. I don't know. I really liked your speech, so it's kind of weird receiving an award when I'm the only person running. I'm just very happy with today's meeting. It was very awesome to me. So thank you.
All right. Next, best round robin speaker is our guest, Lillian. Lillian, tell us, how do you feel about receiving this award?
Oh, thank you so much. It was a pleasure. It was a really fun table topics. I've never done it before, continuing a story, picking up from where somebody else and trying to keep it consistent, but it was really fun. And it was fun listening to the other Toastmasters as they continue the story. But thanks for the honor, appreciate it.
Best evaluator, next, is our immediate past president, Bruce. Bruce, share us some trick. How you always get the best evaluator award. Share us some trick, how to do the evaluation.
Well, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much. I think the thing is that passion. And maybe when you do it with passion, then you will have more ideas and more thoughts in your evaluation. Then, yeah. And just make sure you give positive and helpful advice to the speaker. So not only the speaker, themselves, but also the participant can learn something from your evaluation. Back to you, Kenneth.
Thank you, Bruce. Best meeting facilitator. Our beautiful Toastmaster of the day, Dennis.
Thank you, everyone. I think we all did great today. If I could please ask something of you, is to keep the talent versus the strength in mind. We should all strive to achieve strength in everything we do. Yeah, back to you, Kanan.
Thank you. Best webinar presenter. Give us a big hand. This person will be representing Buddies in our contest. It is Raghav. Raghav, tell us, how do you feel about receiving the award?
Thanks. I took the webinar as a challenge. This is my first webinar. It was truly a challenge to pack everything within 5 minutes and keep audience engaged. So I love the experience in making the presentation, and the biggest thing was also the contents from all the other presenters today. So it was mind blowing to have this. I would encourage our VPE to make it a part that we have it once in a while. It was a great learning experience. Thanks.
Thank you all. I think we had a great meeting. And please make sure that next week we need 18 members. We need to have the club member election. So please come and please elect appropriate leaders, whoever you like, so that they will be ready to take over next year. That's all. And now I'm going to close this meeting. Thank you all. Thank you for attending.